Hi everyone and welcome. We're joined here today by a world-renowned physicist who's going to tell us a little bit about his work in determining the speed of light. So, hi, guten Tag. How about you start off with telling us your name and a little bit about your project?
My name is Albert Einstein, and today we are discussing my work to measure the speed of light. After the experiments of Michelson and Morley in 1905, and it is with the use of the Lorentz transformations and the Maxwell's equations, the electric and magnetic laws of physics, that I work in my paper, The Electrodynamic Behavior Coupler, that find the speed of light to be a constant value, otherwise known as the theory of special relativity.
So, what were you trying to find with this project?
Well, the value of the experiments of Michelson and Morley prove that an ether is superfluous and null. Regardless, I said to prove that their findings are consistent with the Lorentz transformations and Maxwell's equations. And this led to the reimagining of Newtonian physics and mechanics. So I use calculations to prove there is a constant speed of light independent of a body of mass and motion, and this is the initial frame of reference. So the speed of light in a vacuum is constant, and nothing can reach the speed of light. It is a constant, unobtainable velocity, only seen in light. In this vacuum, there is no ether. No ether.
So, where did this project occur exactly?
I conduct their thought experimentations in my mind. I am a theoretical physicist, not an experimental physicist. So, my experiments were done between the months of my doctoral thesis and presentation from the University of Zurich, and maybe some months after, leading into the publication of my 5 papers at the end of 1905. But these experiments were only in my mind. It was not until 1929 that Albert Michelson was able to more accurately measure the speed of light by inducing an almost vacuum to measure the speed of light. And it was not accurately measured until after both are there. Then in 1983 that a research found the speed of light to be 3 times 10 to the 8th power in meters per second.
Well, that's interesting. So, who else was involved?
Well, in 1905, I discussed these theories of modern physics with my friend Michel Berceau, and it is with his friendship that I was able to question my observations and begin my thought experiment in relation to special relativity. And it is actually when I publish my papers in the Annalen de Phys volume 17 that I add a special dedication of thanks to Michel for both his friendship and our engaging conversations. But it was also the work of many physicists before me, my predecessors, Michelson and Morley, as well as Lawrence and Maxwell, that I combined their findings to establish my own theory. And I don't exactly remember if it was an influence of their finding or by my own observations of light while working as a clerk. Then it was Planck that actually was bolstering my popularity among our own colleagues.
So then, what was your role specifically?
I am a means of assembly of many work, particularly the work of Henry Poincare and Hendrik Lorentz. It is with their work that I formulate the calculations and combine them into the theory of special relativity to find this constant in a vacuum of space. With the proven fact that an ether is not possible within these Lorentz and Maxwell equations, the electric and magnetic theories and laws of physics.
And what other significant events were occurring around this time?
Oh yeah, there was a time of war in Europe, particularly my home country of Germany experienced many wars in the time of my many research papers. In 1896, I renounced my German citizenship to the German state and I became a Switzerland citizen in 1901 so I can continue to study at the universities in Switzerland. And it was in 1914 that the World War I was beginning. During my research into the theory of general relativity, which springboarded from my original theory of special relativity, with the light being constant speed. And then in 1933, my home country's government and society was overthrown by the Nazi Party, and I later would establish another citizenship with the United States because I cannot return to my own home country as Jewish academics were exiled. I very worked on Europe. When this is why I later will continue to support pacifist movements throughout the Western world after even World War II.
Okay, so then what impact do you think your project had in the physics community overall?
Well, I know that I contributed to the disproving of work reliant on this ether. I might have ruined some work of some of my colleagues researching it at the time. However, it is with my theories that we establish a reimagining of Newtonian mechanics. So we are able to research these time dilation, the length contraction, in relation to a standard, a constant, which is the speed of light. Yeah. Then it is also with my newfound fame that I work to establish a standard of ethics in the scientific researching bodies. We need to prevent the spread of evil by our own creation. But my honest miraculously was very eventful And from my many papers, I am able to establish this constant of light. Actually, with my equation, I remember as the equation E equals mc to the square power, where the c is a constant of light independent of the motion of a body of mass. But it is with this equation that we get the general relativity with time dilation and length contraction. And it is also with this equation that Marie Curie's findings of radium to release 4,000 calories of heat to be consistent with the laws of physics and thermodynamics. Because when I find this value of C to be so large that when we square it, the energy released is even larger. And so a small mass can release this energy reservoir. But that is after the initial special relativity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And final question. So we were all wondering, do you happen to find your work in determining the speed of light to be more important than that of other physicists such as Michelson or Morley?
No. I do not consider one to be more important than the other. We contribute together to science. Then it would not be without Morley and Michelson's work that I continue my research in my establishment and the acceptance of my law of special relativity and from my own paper they continue their work and induce a vacuum rather than continue to find this imaginary ether. We are a symbiotic community of researchers. We work together and we theorize together, we research together, we edit and disprove one another. So no. And it is their experiments that begin to try to put a quantitative value to the speed of light, whereas mine is more qualitative, where I just find that it is constant and large. We work with each other to find God's work, to figure out what God was planning when He created the universe.
Thank you so much for your time and have a great afterlife.
Oh ja, danke schön. So, ja.